On today's video, I want to try to figure out these Camry motors a little bit more than what I know about them. I built harnesses for these to get them running in the situations where you can cut almost the entire harness out of the newer style car and the older style car. But as a lot of you guys may know, in the USA, all these guys are turning these 3.1 Luminas from fuel injected to carbureted. And I do have to admit, I am a fan of carburetors. For demolition derby use, I am a fan of carburetors. And the reason of that is if you have a carburetor, you can basically get rid of all the wiring on the car, and when it comes to swapping it, it makes it so much easier to go from car to car when you just have a carburetor. So this motor right here has had a hard life, and there's something wrong with the inside of this. That cam does not want to turn. So what I'm going to try to do is I am going to try to build a carburetor kit for this. Now, I have no idea if this is going to work, but this is the perfect situation to use this on because this motor's no good. So basically, if we take it apart, all we're going to do is learn more about this motor and what we can do with it. Now, I have an exhaust manifold here, and I don't know if it's going to work, but it may have the exact same space between all of the inlet ports to the intake, because it is basically to the same motor. So I'm thinking if we take that off, we can maybe modify this exhaust manifold to become an intake manifold. Or worst comes to worst, I can use it and cut it and use it as a template to build a newer one. Now, I know this is not ideal because each exhaust port is actually a different length, but this is just seeing if I can get this thing to work. Now, this is a 91 to 96 motor. It has a distributor on it. I'm not even sure if this will work with coil packs or what you have to do to make it work with coil packs, but I do know how to work a distributor. I have not really messed around with it too much, but all we can really do is take this thing apart and see where it gets us, because as of right now it's junk. So if we take it apart and it's in 10,000 pieces, it's still going to be junk. All we're going to lose is a little bit of time and get some knowledge out of this. This is Matt. Matt's going to take the intake manifold off. So everybody, let's let him get at her. So what we have done is we've taken the factory intake manifold off of this motor. And what we did was we put the exhaust manifold onto it. Now, this does fit, but it's not 100%. So what we are doing is we are making just a proof of concept, if you will. So we are going to put some silicone in between here and here. Now, it's still got to come on and off probably 50 more times. So I don't want to silicone it just yet. What I've done is I've just opened up some of these holes, so it actually mounts 4 spots on the top, 1 spot on the bottom, which is actually pretty good. Now, we have put a level on this, and we've cut it with our bandsaw, and what we're going to come up with now is these are old AMC carburetors. And to be honest, I have no idea if they work. They don't look super dirty on the inside, but they were old AMC carburetors, and AMC back in the 70s was still really not that good in the 70s. So this thing's 45 years old now. It's probably not very good now. But what we're going to do is we're going to make an adapter plate. I guess I didn't level that very good. Maybe it's because I moved the motor. We're going to make an adapter plate that welds to this and then also has bolts onto it to hold this. Now, this is not going to work inside the car as of yet because the distance from the motor to the firewall is not enough to run this setup. What we will do if this works is we will build a custom intake manifold where it comes out and then up real tall into 4 into 1 and then mount this carburetor really tall, as tight to the motor as possible. Now, one other problem that this has is it's a fuel injected motor, so there's fuel injectors. Now, unfortunately, those fuel injectors are not in the intake manifold, they're actually into the head. Now, it's aluminum, so it's really easy to drill and tap and put bolts in. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is when all this is mocked up and welded and built, I'm going to drill and tap each one of those fuel injector holes, and I'm going to cover a bolt in high temp silicone, and I'm just going to impact it into there so that it's sealed off. They don't go into the cylinders, it's not direct injected, it's just injected into the aluminum heads. So I guess the next step is to build an adapter plate that welds to this exhaust manifold that will accept this carburetor. So I'm going to get this a little bit more level, and then I will do this. We're just going to take a grinder to this and just mow her down until she's level. So when I edit this video together, it's going to look like this is just one video. But I actually did all this work to this, and I would say mid to late November. And here we are in basically early March. And this is where we've gotten to it on. I built myself a distributor. Now, this right here is, I'm going to say not 100% done. It's just, I got to fix the timing gear on. I just kind of tack welded the timing gear on there. But what I've done is this is a small block Chevy distributor. Let me get closer here. So this is a small block Chevy distributor, and what I've done is I've actually cut down this long piece that comes out the bottom, and I've actually sent it to my neighbor who TIG welded on the actual Camry base to the Camry distributor. And then I've machined it down to fit the Camry timing gear, but I just gave it a tack weld. I got to grind these tack welds off and drill a new hole and install a new wrist pin because this gear is supposed to flop around inside here so that it stays aligned, but with my welds it's not perfectly aligned. So the reason why I went with a small block Chevy distributor is, yes, this is a 4-cylinder, but if I use every other spark plug wire, that's technically a 4-cylinder off of here. And the reason I went with this is just because it is so easy to hot wire these distributors with these 1-wire positives. Yes, I could have done this a little bit nicer, but as of right now, this is probably never ever going to go into an actual demolition derby car. Since I've built my Camry standalone harnesses, the dreams of running a carbureted Camry are pretty much gone. But I still want to get it done just for proof of concept. So what we have here is a distributor that you just insert, just like the factory Camry distributor. It just goes right into the factory holes and mounts up. We are running small block Chevy spark plug wires that you just plug in. Now, this thing I haven't got to run yet, mostly because I haven't finished all the stuff I've been doing to it. And at this point in time, I'm really not 100% sure if I'm going to actually finish this. But I've been seeing a lot more videos of all these carbureted luminas, and I just wanted to see if it would be worth it to actually carburate one of these Camrys. I've been seeing different things that the guys have been doing online. And what they've been doing is they've been building brackets off the factory intake where it just comes out 90s and then comes to a carburetor. I actually think that'd be a lot simpler than what I'm trying to do right here, right now. But, I don't know. But this way here, I definitely have spark. I just have to get the timing set and I have to get this timing gear set up. I have to get that carburetor welded down because it's still not. I got to get the fuel injectors holes plugged off. But as of right now, this is what I've gotten, and I don't know if I'm going to finish it, believe it or not. I don't really know. I'm pretty sure this motor is actually junk. I'm pretty sure I have a bent lifter inside of it, but transmission is good, so no matter what, I'll be pulling the transmission off before it goes to scrap. But I don't know, I thought this would have been a cool idea when I started it, but 5 or 6 months later after I started it, I'm starting to realize that it's not really going to work. Even if I got a tighter header, I don't think this thing would really work inside the cars. A lot of you guys probably are pretty interested in carbureting a Camry, but this right here is my prototype or anything like that. I'm probably never going to fire this thing up, but I was kind of slowly working on this for quite a period of time, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I really don't. Just something else that keep me occupied back here in the shop. But with derby season approaching and me working as many hours as I'm working, I don't really have a lot of time to be focusing and throwing at this. So I'm probably just going to push it off to the side and just forget about it. But I figure I'd make a video and show you guys that with a little bit of imagination and some time and old parts laying around, you guys can actually build these custom parts to basically do anything that you want. How do you think these carbureted luminas came around? Some guy tried something that nobody else had tried before, and now it's super popular. I think carbureting these Camrys will become a thing in probably the next 2, 3, 4 years. But right now, the fuel injection on them seems to be working pretty good. I haven't had any issues since I've got my harness, but a lot of guys still have simple wiring issues with these, but I don't know. I know a lot of you American guys are big into the carburetors, and that's why I thought this kit here, if I had got it working to prove, just to do a proof of concept, I bet you it would have taken off a little bit better, but I've pretty much just given up. Don't need it. Up here in Canada, not very many people run carbureted fuel injection switch to carbureted. A lot of guys do it on the small block Chevys with the TBI stuff, but realistically, there's not very many guys here in Ontario that actually run carbureted luminas. I can only think of about 3 off the top of my head, and I've only seen a couple carbureted Camrys, and those were online, and I'm not even sure if they were Camrys. They might have been Corollas, but they're still carbureted Toyotas. I can tell by the motors. I know my Toyota motor's half decent, but do you guys want to see me continue this kit any further than what it is, or do you just want to see me build and smash cars? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below, but as of right now, I don't think I'm going to really pursue this any more than what it is. Probably just take all my parts off that I want, like the carburetor, the exhaust manifold, the transmission, the distributor, timing belt, timing gears, maybe the spark plugs, just because I always like having spark plugs, and I think I'm probably going to call it a day on this one. But let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching today's video. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.